Friday. Whew, super fresh. All's just got my hat blown off then. I am so ready for today's session. Looking forward to it. So it's going to be the 250 weighted pull-ups with a 10 kilogram weight, 250 weighted rings dips with the 7.5 kilogram weight, and 5,000 meters rowed. Let's get on it. Right, let's get set up with a 10 kg weight. Here we are. So the bit that I've got to be careful of today, I'll be honest with you, is I've got some pain on the inside of my left elbow. So it's been really nagging me. I can't see anything there, but that is literally that inside part. That's where it is. So today it's been loads of stretch work so far. So I've been doing the scapular raises, the dead hangs. I've been really focusing on that bit just to try and massage the lower, smaller muscles, ligaments and tendons around there, because what will happen is as soon as I get into the pull-ups, around about say 50 pull-ups and beyond, the bigger muscles will kick in and I'll just start to get warmed up, and they'll just look after the smaller muscles and the ligaments and the tendons. But this issue that I've noticed it a bit this week. That's why I've tried to rest it for a couple of days, but I'm going to see how we get on today, so it's not going to stop me. I'm on it. Okay, let's get the first 5 in there together, see how this feels. Okay, so I've done the warm-up exercises now. Yeah, so it's like it's a niggle. So that bit is the bone there. So we've got the bone there, the elbow, if you will. Another bone there, and it's this sensation around that bone there. There's definitely a pull there. There's definitely some. I wouldn't say swelling, but I'd say feels a bit tight. So there could be some swelling there. I'm going to see how I get on. Right, 5 pull-ups done so far. 245 left to go. Okay, 50 pull-ups in now. It's starting to ease off. Definitely warmed up. I literally treat every training session as if it was my last. Because the truth is, you don't know what it will be. And that isn't being negative, that is being realistic. Being in the training session now and doing what I'm doing feels amazing. I get all those incredible rushes because of all those amazing, beautiful hormones that get released. But of course, I've got a couple of pain points right now, so I'm reminded of that. What I need to do is I need to be self-aware that they're there. Obviously, I don't want to cause any more damage, but equally I don't want it to impact my performance, and it shouldn't need to, as long as I maintain the right level of focus on the precision techniques. So the hand placement, breath work, hip tilt. Obviously I've got the 10 kilogram weight right now balancing between my thighs, so that's something additional to think about. I don't want to squeeze too hard because that's going to force my body to clench to go down when I'm pulling up. That won't work. But I want to stop that momentum of the weight moving, because that can negatively impact my pull-ups if it's swinging one way and I'm pulling the other. So there's a lot of stuff to control, a lot of different things going on. But yeah, feeling good so far. That's the only little niggle that I've got. But my advice in these situations is, if I know that I've got something that's wrong, something physically, I genuinely in that moment think about how it will impact my performance. How will I affect that thing? So right now, doing the pull-ups, I can feel that it's working the larger muscle groups as well as the smaller muscle groups, the ligaments, the tendons, so on and so forth. And it's feeling better the more reps that I'm doing. I think if I just came in and say, I'm going to do 20 pull-ups now, I wouldn't necessarily feel what that would feel like to come past that point. I'd have to do some other exercises, but I'm working through it. I'm working through that pain barrier to try and understand a bit more about what's going on here. Logic would say that since I've transitioned from the wide grip angular bar, where my hands would have been a little bit like that on the grip, to more the straight bar, that it could be affecting this part of my elbow. That's possible. That's logically possible. But I'm going to stick with a straight bar. I'm going to work through it. Anyway, listen, you will see the journey as it unfolds. Okay, 250 pull-ups done with the 10 kilogram weight. So it is feels good to get to that point, but you know what? The elbow, I think there is some inflammation there that I've got to be mindful of that. So I have felt the pain throughout the pull-ups, but it's not enough for me to stop doing the pull-ups. So this isn't me just saying, do you know what, I don't care about my body, I'm just going to push on until it breaks. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I acknowledge that there's pain there. The pain isn't enough for me to stop doing the pull-ups, but it's something that has presented itself, so I'm mindful of that, and I'm going to do what I can to rest and help repair that. And it starts with the ring dips. Do you know what? That sounded so wrong, right? I'm moving on to the next exercise, but I will focus on all of the things that I can do to help it recover. So that is going to be continuing with my training, using the discipline, using the precision techniques, and focusing on one rep at a time, because that's all it is, one rep at a time, being present in that moment, focus on each rep, making sure that I'm performing it with all of the techniques that I know that I need to do in order to execute it in the way that works for me. Okay, let's get them set up. So I get asked a lot, how's the iceberg getting on? Here it is, it's doing just fine. This is going to last me, honestly, for ages. I'd be really interested to see whether it lasts for the whole of 2024. We will see. Okay, I'm going to stick with the 7.5 kilogram for the rings dips for now. I'm going to track this performance, really connect to my mind and my body and see how I feel with it, but I'm not going to take it to the 10 kg just yet. Okay, so that's the rings dips done. Just hydrating now, so I'm going to drink 600 mils of water. Just put my sodium, potassium, magnesium and calcium in, so my essential minerals, my electrolytes. Yeah, there's about a gram there. I'll keep a gram back for post session. Right, let's get into this rowing. Okay, here we are. So I'm going to take the one on the right. This is one that I've been using last time. So listen, I've not got the sleeves on. I've taken the sleeves off now. I know what you're thinking, Phil, you're changing too many things, you're increasing the weight, you're taking the sleeves off. The reason why I'm taking the sleeves off is, to be honest with you, I don't want to get too used to having the sleeves, because there will be times when I won't always have access to the sleeves, and also they need washing because they stink and I don't want to keep wearing them. But genuinely, I would say that I'm interested now in seeing what it's like without the sleeves. You know what I mean? I just want to really focus on the technique and not necessarily be reliant upon the gymnastic sleeves. Anyway, let's get into it. What an immense session. So honestly, incredible. I absolutely went for it. That was my best indoor rowing experience so far today. And I'm going to hydrate now, get this down me. It's a bit noisy in there for me to speak, so I'm going to go out where my sensory is not as effective. So I'll speak to you in a minute. There we are, that's better. You know what, I'm no good when I can hear different types of music, different volumes, all over the show, and people are talking really loud. You know, that sensory side of stuff. That was what was going on down there then. So I thought, right, listen, I've just trained now. I'll get somewhere a bit quieter and I'll come have a natter with you. So listen, today, undoubtedly, so far, is the best day of March in terms of the training session. Without a shadow of a doubt, here's why. So, as you know, I've increased the weight for the pull-ups. And that's going well, so I'm on the 10 kg weight. I've increased the weight on the rings dips. So so the pull-up started with a 7.5 kg, we're now on 10 kg. The rings dip started with 2.5 kg. Then I increased it to 5 kg. And now 7.5 kg, and I'm seriously considering going up to the 10. And then the indoor rowing. So today, honestly, it was really interesting. So my, I don't know whether you can see this now. So my arms perspired. They probably always perspired, to be fair, but I didn't wear the sleeves. I just wanted to see what it was like, feel what it was like to do the rowing, really push myself without being reliant upon having the sleeves on. So here's my feedback. Have I noticed a difference? I suppose just having bare skin with nothing covering it is always going to be as nature is intended. Even though I am like hairier than a wolf, it's still better to get that freshness. So I've enjoyed that aspect of it. However, here's what I've noticed. My grip. So my hands got super sweaty, so I perspired a lot. Now, whether or not that trickled down my arm onto my hands, or whether or not just because I really went for it today, I perspired more, I don't know. But listen, Techno Gym, you have to do something about the grip. You've got to do something about the grip on the bar. With innovation and technology, there must be a better way of producing a bar. Because listen, I don't even consider myself to be, you know, an endurance athlete for indoor rowing. That isn't my specialism yet, but that isn't my specialism. So here's my feedback. You know, I'm doing 5,000 meters indoor road, and it's so slippy because of course it's the sweat. Surely there's a way, come on, there's got to be an innovation out there whereby it can provide a nice amount of grip, but it can allow the moisture to wick away. There's got to be something there. But that's my feedback. If I was to say do 10,000 meters today, I would definitely, in my opinion, have to stop at one point to wipe down the bar to then keep going again, which would mean that I would be breaking my performance. So today, I didn't break away to wipe down the bar. What I did was, I did that trick where I literally start there on the bar, then move my hand up, and then back again. But I shouldn't have to do that. I should be able to put my hands on the bar exactly where they feel comfortable for me in my posture, and then begin rowing without worrying about there being too much moisture there. And also, I do put on some chalk on the hands, but yet again, that's niche. You know, I train calisthenics, so chalk is literally the butter to my toast, my toothpaste and my toothbrush. It stays with me all the time. The average person is not going to have a bag of chalk or liquid chalk, and also they're not going to consider about putting that on the hands before going on the indoor rower. It's just not something that's talked about or seen. So that would be an additional product for somebody to use, which would cost more money, and it might even create mess on the machine. So yeah, innovate. I've got ideas on what you could do, but yeah, listen, it's not a major complaint. It's feedback based on me introducing rowing into my training regime, and yeah, so love today's session. Really pushed myself on the endo rowing. It's an interesting one. So I didn't close my eyes today. I stayed focused on looking at the watts in the bottom right hand corner. I just wanted to try something different. I had no music on. I had no headphones in. So whatever was playing in the club was playing. Now I wouldn't normally do that. That's not like me, but I really wanted to push myself today in terms of my sensory. So I just wanted to expose myself to whatever was going on around me and just really focus on doing the rowing. And that was more of a mental battle for me, because one of the challenges that I definitely face on a daily basis is sensory overload. So that's light, that's touch, that's smell, that's sound, all those different things. So it's something that I processes, techniques, things that I do to help me with that. And a lot of it comes down to the mind and the mindset. And every now and again, I'll put myself in that environment where it's uncomfortable to a certain degree from a sensory perspective. So these aren't things that you'll see. This isn't a physical thing that you'll see. This is the mental side of it. This is how it affects. And it's how I overcome that and the things that I do. So today's challenge doing the indoor rowing was the physical element of it, but it's also the mental challenge of keeping focused, keeping that rhythm where it needed to be without diluting everything with, say, putting my headphones in with pink noise or listening to a book or my own music. I just wanted to stay in my natural habitat. Anyway, amazing session. I'm going to cool down now and listen, I will see you soon. I might do a little wrap up in a bit, but if I don't, you'll see the data. There we go. So I'm all chilled and relaxed now. I've cooled down, had a nice swim, jacuzzi, and just I've soaked the muscles. I've got the jets right on that part. So on the left, inside left part of the elbow, I've got it right on there, and just literally put it on the jacuzzi jet and just left it there for a while, and it does feel like it's helped in some way. I do feel though that this is just going to be something that is going to get better over time. So keep doing the stretching, keep focusing on the input parts, the bits that I can control, such as my hand placement, hip tilt, breath work, all of the things that I know that I put into the pull-ups, the rings dips, and the new movement, which is the rowing. So listen, the row today is by far the best that I've done in March's challenge so far. So what I'll do at the end of March's challenge is I'm gonna take the caption from day one and we'll see what it'll be like on the final day of March's challenge in terms of data. So I'd be really interested in that. Things that have gone well today. Pull-ups, no problem whatsoever. They're doing really, really well. I'm on the 10 kg. I've got no plans on increasing the weight. I've already increased it once. I'm going to stick with that so far because I want to keep an eye on the pain that I've got in the lower part of my in the midsection of my arm, my elbow, inside elbow bit. Rings dips, probably going to increase the weight. I think I'm potentially going to take that up to 10 kg. The reason for that is that I've smoothly transitioned throughout March's challenge from 2.5 kg on the rings dips, 250 rings dips, to 5 kg, to now 7.5 kg. And I think there's potential there to go to the 10 kg. When I'm going to do that, I'm not exactly sure. So I'm training tomorrow. Will I do it tomorrow? I don't know. I'm going to reflect on that and see how I feel later. The indoor rowing. So the issue that I've got is the perspiration that is building up as I'm pushing myself harder. And what I mean by that is I'm taking longer, more powerful strokes when I'm doing the rowing. So I've got the bar there and I'm just whipping it back. So I'm putting more emphasis on the pull. Now I know I've got more in the tank on that. The watts got to about 180, something like that at one point. But I wasn't able to sustain it for the endurance for long periods of time. But I got to that point. The truth is, if the only exercise that I was training was the indoor rowing, I'd probably be going at a harder pace. I'd probably be tougher on myself. But remember, the goal, the focus, is to achieve 100,000 meters in March. and I broke it down into 5,000 meters each session. The time is not the focus for March's challenge, but I think what I'm finding, which is it's very me, I'm obviously getting into the rowing, and I'm starting to understand the mechanics, the different component parts that go into it. I would say it is a complex movement. I would. You may be a profound rower yourself, you may be a seasoned athlete in rowing, and you may not see the elements of it being complex. In contrast to that, it's like somebody watching me do my pull-ups, and I make it look like a simplified process, but that's through years of practice, practicing that movement. That's through practicing hundreds and thousands of repetitions, one movement repeated and improved on each time, so I get all of the ingredients that makes that pull-up for me. I'm finding that process with the rowing, the indoor rowing. Listen, I've noticed that the perspiration thing when I'm holding the bar is an issue. Like, I don't want to stop rowing to grab a towel, to wipe down the bar, to get back in, to go back into the pulls again. So there's a part of that brain that says, should be a better handle. There shouldn't be an issue here, right? The truth is, the handle is the handle. Okay, so I need to focus on the bits that I can control, not the bits that I can't control, the bits that I can control. So what I'm doing at the moment, as you know, is I'm starting off in the widest part of the rower bar there, getting to say around about 500, then bringing it in a little bit, then doing another 500, and then bringing it in a little bit more. It's a bit niche that when I'm going in really tight and pulling, and then slowly coming back out again, so hopefully the perspiration wicks away. I can't think of another way of doing it. I'm 100% open-minded to any seasoned indoor rowers that can share their hints, tips. Some things that I'm doing, I'm putting a little bit of chalk on before I start on the rowing. The only reason I'm doing that is because I have chalk, because I use that in my pull-ups and my rings dips, and I just happen to have it. But I'm interested in any tips that anyone can share about indoor rowing for somebody who isn't a seasoned indoor rower, aka my good self. I would probably say, in terms of the process, like how far I'm moving forward to going for the pull and then snapping back, I kind of find my flow with that. So I focus a lot on the breath work. So I focus on my breathing, because I recognise that my heart rate is going really, really high, which is obvious because of the exercise that I'm doing, and I want to focus to try and reduce that, which means that I need to do certain techniques to calm down that part of the brain, the amygdala part of the brain, as an example, which is sensing danger, and I need to say, there's no danger here, I'm enjoying what I'm doing the indoor rowing, so let's settle down now. There's different talk that I give myself that helps me in those moments, so I don't fall into panic. And it is interesting because it happened today. I don't want to use the word panic, should I say. I'll explain it. So I was getting into the flow. I was around about 180, 182 on the watts, and I felt the heart started to beat faster, etc. But I found my rhythm, I found my flow. So I was doing the rows, finding that rhythm, finding that flow, and then my hand, ever so slightly, is a micro slip because of the perspiration that built up. And then what happened was a tiny little slip, but it was enough for me to recognise it and think, okay. And then all of a sudden I zoomed in on that, and then my thoughts all of a sudden were like, the perspiration, it's an issue. Will this be an issue? Will I be able to get to the end without drying it down, this, that and the other? And straight away, that was proof in that moment that my thoughts became my feelings changed my physiology, and my watts went right down to about 140, something like that. Because in that moment, I was conscious about that little slip, so my attention went to, is this going to be an issue? Is this an issue? And then I told myself, well, what else can you do right now about the perspiration on the bar other than getting a towel, wiping it down, and then wiping your hands and then starting over again? If you're going to carry on doing what you're doing, you're going to have to keep moving your hand placements, make sure your grip's there. So when I'm gripping it, if that's the bar there, I'm not gripping it like that. I'm not going thumbs over. I'm doing just like the pull-ups. I'm doing thumbs over. So that's how I grip the bar when I'm pulling it on the rower, like that. Not like that. I grip it like that. So treat it as if I'm doing the pull-ups. So yeah, that was interesting because it did throw me off my game a little bit. And the bounce back ability, it probably took me about, I'd say, maybe about 15 seconds to bounce back from that, but it was enough to remind me that the mindset, the mind, the feelings, the attachments to that, all of those things can take me off the game. And then how I recouped from that, how I got back from it, was I then focused on my breathing. I got the rhythm back, so it was nice and rhythmic. I started to focus on the watts, so I started to think, okay, just focus on something that you can control. So let's just say get to 150. So I'll focus on that, and then that 150 watts in the bottom right hand corner of the screen, this display, you'll see this in a bit, just go for that 150. So by doing that, I focused on one thing, and by focusing on that one thing, it got my heart rate where it needed to be. It got me back in the rhythm, and I was just focusing on that one thing, that 150, and then I got back in the flow. And then before you know it, I wasn't even thinking about the perspiration on the hands or the sweat or, why didn't they design a better bar for it or something like that. Listen, remember, controlling thoughts is an impossible game. It's impossible to control the thoughts. It's not impossible, or should I say it's possible to manage the thoughts through different techniques and processes to manage those thoughts. And in that moment, by distracting myself, by focusing on the watts, I was able to forget all about what was going on with regards to the perspiration and then get through to the end. So that is real. That's what happened today. And best session so far. Okay. Thank you for staying with Thank you for staying with me on my journey, on this journey. It really does mean a lot. I'm trying to share as much as I can with you in real time. And remember, be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself and be kind to others. I'll see you soon. Okay, so that is it. This is the data. This is the exciting part because it shows you at a high level overview what I've achieved so far and where I am. So I've just completed day 8 today, and I'm almost 50% of the way through this challenge, and just seeing the data there, how it's progressed, particularly for days 7 and days 8, loving increasing it to the 10 kg. Rings dips, this is super interesting. So of course, for day 4, I decided to increase the weight, and then day 7, I've increased it again. I'm possibly gonna increase that weight on the rings dips. Let me sleep on it this evening. I will think about it. And then the meters road, 5,000 indoor meters road, nice and simple. So that's what it looks like once I've punched the numbers, and it gives me a nice overview of where I'm at. So I've got 3,000 pull-ups remaining, 3,000 rings dips remaining, 60,000 meters road remaining. Beautiful work.